You're listening to Southeast Radio's Business Matters with thanks to Wexford Insurances. Wexford Insurances. More information at wexfordinsurance.com.
I'm joined now by a local entrepreneur who's deploying the latest technologies to promote businesses nationwide. Jerry Foley from WTV, you're very welcome to the programme.
Good morning, Karl.
We might just start off by you telling me a little bit about what WTV do.
Karl, WTV specialises in the production of cinematic quality film, and then using that film and relevant digital media technologies and devices, we promote businesses across pretty well every sector.
Where did the idea for this business come?
The idea for the business came, I suppose, a few years ago when the internet and broadband sort of arrived. For several years, the internet just carried text and imagery. Now it can carry video. And I felt the time was right to develop a business like this because the internet and the right broadband speeds are generally available now in many developed countries.
And what's your own background?
My own background, Karl, from leaving school in Wexford many years ago, I moved into software development, believe it or not, and that's back at the end of the 70s. So I came through traditional software development career from programming through to systems analysis and project management. And I spent probably about 16 years at that before I went into business on my own.
And that first business that you did start, what were you doing in that?
The first business, again, it was probably at the cutting edge. Hopefully some of your listeners will remember the CD-ROM medium, which delivered video and animation and mixed all these things up on a medium that we decided to use for teaching sport on. And the first products I delivered, consumer products, which were sold nationally as well as internationally, were teaching people how to play sport.
So you have a world of experience in that area.
Yeah, I've got involved in the use of video, I suppose, on video with technology really at the beginning, which was, really the early 90s. And that's when all this stuff began to happen. And it was really before the internet had arrived.
What was the next step after the CD-ROM business?
We took our expertise and my own background in software and technology and started basically building websites. We did a lot of work in the web business. Sites like, we did a lot of work in the tourism sector, and one site I'm sure most of your listeners will know was IrelandHotels.com, which we developed for the Irish Hotels Federation.
And following on from the web development, what was the next stage?
Following on from that, we started developing products on DVD. In fact, we did a golf coaching product with Justin Rose, the British golfer, and we also did a soccer training product with a player called JJ Okocha, whom some of your listeners may remember from Bolton Wanderers. So we did a lot of work in that space, and then we moved, I suppose, into what we're doing today.
For the last 20 years or so, there's been significant and fundamental changes across all technologies. What have you seen to be the most major one?
Well, for me personally, and I think not just for me, but what I'm seeing emerging in a big way now is what's happening with the internet in terms of video. And just to mention maybe a few statistics, I'd say when the internet first arrived and we started engaging with it, certainly for me that was in the mid to late 90s. There was no video because there was no broadband speed available. But today, about 60% of internet traffic is video, and Eircom as well as Cisco predict that by 2013, 90% of internet traffic is going to be video. So from my own perspective and what's actually happening in the marketplace, the web is becoming a video medium. It's becoming like television, except it's interactive television.
So the traditional website as we know it, full of text, what's the future for that?
It'll be dead. It'll be like a dinosaur. In fact, I'd predict that within the next 12, 18 months, maybe less, that if you don't have relevant video on your website, you'll be like a dinosaur. It's like teletext to television. The bottom line, Karl, is people love the video medium. So if you think about it, within the next year, 18 months, 50% of television sets in Europe are going to be web-enabled. So when you're watching the television in your living room, and let's say you're looking at the web in your living room, are you going to be looking at text or looking at imagery? No, you're going to expect to see video appearing. And the websites you engage with on your TV set, you will expect to see video. And if you don't, you're just going to switch those websites off. And that's where it's heading. And it's going there. It's going there at a rate of knots. 3 billion videos are watched now every day on YouTube. So there's just a phenomenon happening with the medium. And that's why we're in the space, and we are seeing a lot of businesses beginning to engage more with the media, which is great.
So you're saying that the introduction of smart TVs and web-enabled TVs is going to have a dramatic effect on web traffic and certainly the content of websites in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, to be honest, we're already seeing it with the, another key device at the moment is the smartphone. And a lot of people now have smartphones, and I'd say within the next maybe 12 months or maybe even less, the vast majority of developed markets will be using smartphone. And again, they're watching video on their smartphone. So it's not just in your living room. It's also on your own mobile device and the phone you use on a daily basis.
Realistically, can you see people at home in their living rooms actually visiting websites to watch videos in the future?
I think that's a good question. Personally, I can see it because I think people are a little bit bored with traditional network television. And the way the world is going now is you like to dip in and out of the things you're interested in. So don't think of it as a website, because when you're thinking of the web, Karl, I think you're thinking of text and pictures. Just think of a flowing video. So, I mean, the website it could be for any business out there, could be a video which you can interact with and dip in and out of the sections that you're interested in. It's almost like think of it as like watching maybe a 10 or a 15-minute television program, but it's very professionally produced, but you can cut in and out of the pieces that are relevant to you. So it's all about delivering interactive video over the web now.
To come back to your own business, you're providing businesses with the opportunity to promote themselves both online and offline by integrating video on their own websites and YouTube and everything else. What's the process to make that happen?
I suppose the first thing is obviously just get in touch with us, and you can find our website at WTV.ie. Basically, when a business makes contact, we have an initial meeting. Once we agree the requirements from a filming point of view, we generally do what we call a recce. We just have a look at the locations we're going to film in. We agree a shot list with the client in terms of what exactly we need to film just to get their particular message or story across. And then once we do that, we get a crew out, which is generally a cameraman and maybe a presenter. That could be 1 or 2 days filming, depending on the shoot. It could be longer. Then there's a stage of editing, which might take a number of days. With some changes, it can be all done and dusted. I mean, that entire process could be done and dusted within a couple of weeks.
Finally, what's your vision for 2012 for WTV?
WTV for 2012 will continue to do as much work as possible in Wexford and County Wexford. We see ourselves doing a lot of work, hopefully in the tourism sector, and we've already done a lot of work in that space. And we also see ourselves growing the business nationally, and we would hope to be selling in London before the end of the year.
Well, I wish you continued success, and thanks for coming in and speaking to me this morning.
You're listening to Southeast Radio's Business Matters with thanks to Wexford Insurances. Wexford Insurances, #1 for business insurance in County Wexford.